The weekend understands one universal truth that most songwriters don't. This helps them write attention-grabbing lyrics his fans can't get enough of. So today we're gonna talk about the art of verse development, a way to write evolving stories that keep your songs from getting boring. We've uncovered the secrets of successful songs, like this. So you can write lyrics like a professional. So if you have trouble with writer's block, or you never know what the second verse should be about, then this skill will solve these problems once and for all. So don't miss out on a simple approach at the end of this video, an approach that will make sure your lyrics have always an interesting story to tell. But before we dive in, we need to talk about why it's so hard to write a second verse.
The second verse dilemma.
Answer me this question: why is it so hard to write an interesting second verse? The answer I get most often is,
I just don't know what to talk about.
8 out of 10 songwriters I ask struggle with this every song they write. I struggle with this as well, but this all changed once I understood this. The second verse is not about telling the same story, but its development. This is what most amateur songwriters lack. They never think through what story they want to tell. So they start to write until they inevitably run out of ideas and get stuck. Because of this, they end up with boring second verses that feel like the first one, but worse. And this is the second verse dilemma. But you don't need to make the same mistakes they do. Let me show you a way to write impactful and interesting second verses. A way that will avoid writer's block altogether.
The power of dynamic repetition.
So tell me, what even is the function of a verse? It's to support and give context to the core message of the song. And where's the core message found? It's always found in its chorus or refrain. So think of your songs like books. Like every book, it has its cover and its pages. The cover grabs our attention with an interesting title, image, or summary of what the book is about. Exactly like your song's chorus. But the pages on the inside go deeper than that. They tell a full story with detail, context, and visual expression like the verses of your song. But amateur songwriters never understand this, and they do one out of two mistakes. First, they try to tell the whole story within the chorus, or second, they never tell a story in their verses, but state random ideas they came up with. But tell me, would you buy a book with a cover that's so overfilled you can't recognize what it's about? Or would you read 800 pages of random statements without any meaning or connection? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. So why write songs that way? Let's look at how professional songwriters deal with this problem. Listen to the song Happier by Ed Sheeran.
Walking down 29th and Park, I saw you in another's arm. Only a month we've been apart. You look happier.
He starts this verse with this. He tells the story on how he felt after a breakup. The scene comes to life as he gives us context on where he is and what he can see. But as he moves into the chorus, he follows it up with this.
Baby, you look happier, you do. My friends told me one day I'll feel it too. And until then I smile and hide the truth that I know I was happier with you.
Ed Sheeran uses the chorus to summarize what this song is about. There's no new storyline that develops, but it repeats the most important parts. Baby, you look happier. Or you can listen to the work song by Häuser. He starts his verse with this.
Always walking on empty. Is that the kind of way to face the burning heat? I just think about my baby. I'm so full of love I could barely eat.
The verse tells the story of a character working under hard conditions, and the only thing he can think about is his partner. But later, he tells us what the song is really about.
When my time comes around, lay me gently in the cold dark earth. No grave can hold my body down. I'll crawl home to her.
The song is about how much he's longing for his partner, so much so that even death won't stop him. So for every song that you write, remember this. Tell your stories in the verses and then summarize it in the chorus with a core message. This song's got 11 out of 18 points on my lyric cheat sheet. It's a free interactive checklist designed specifically for lyric writing. These are 18 core concepts professional songwriters use to create impactful lyrics. Concepts you can't afford to ignore. Click on any headline and we'll send you to a video explanation teaching you everything you need to know. Scroll down a bit and you'll find action points for your next song. But that's not all. There are also examples of successful songs of all kinds of genres that use these techniques, so you can see how professional songwriters use what you've learned. It's a great companion every songwriter should have. And if you manage to check 10 out of 18 boxes, your writing can compete with professional songwriters. So if you want to write like Häuser, then download the lyric cheat sheet. It's free, check out the link in the description. But let's move on with the video. Now that we know that the verses should always tell a story, we end up with one problem. How do we write a second verse without telling the same story twice? And this is where most run into writer's block. They use their most powerful and expressive lines in verse 1 and now are looking for scraps to use in the second one. But they end up with two verses telling the same story but with different words. So tell me what happens if we repeat ideas too often? They will get old and our audience loses interest. Amateur songwriters try to find more of the same, but need to look for something else. It's like Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But this is where one thing comes into play.
Verse development.
Development takes your story, but tells it from a different angle. This can be a shift in perspective, time, location, or a mix of all of three. So in a heartbreak song, you can write about what happened to you in the first verse, but then you can develop it in the second one, like this. You can change the point of view. What happened to your significant other? How did your friends help you cope? Or what did your parents say about your breakup? You can change the time. How did you feel a month later? Or how do you feel right before you broke up? Also, you can change the location the story unfolds in. You're at work and you can't stop thinking about it. Or you're at the place you both visited often. The possibilities are endless. And once you're aware of this, you will spot this everywhere. Even pop songs do this. Let's look at the song The Hills by The Weeknd. Verse 1 starts with this. Verse 1 talks about the situation. He tells us about his affair with a woman, but then shifts perspective and follows it up with a second verse.
I'ma let you know and keep it simple. Trying to keep it up don't seem so simple. I just fucked two bitches before I saw you. And you gon' have to do it at my tempo.
He addresses his struggle with drugs in a world of desire and indulgence. Likewise, he gives us another angle to connect with his song, and that's verse development. As a bonus, The Weeknd uses a clever trick to make this shift in perspective seamless. He always talks about the same woman. This is called direct address. It helps us stay anchored in the story so it doesn't feel like a skip in topic. If you want to learn more about different points of view and how to use them, watch the linked video. But we can also look at our previous example. The second verse of the song Happier tells us how he's trying to cope with his breakup. So he changes time and location.
Sat in the corner of the room. Everything's reminding me of you. Nursing an empty bottle and telling myself you're happier, aren't you?
As another example, the second verse of the work song changes the time and moves it into the past.
My baby found me. I was 3 days on a drunken sin. I woke with the walls around me. Nothing in her room but an empty crib.
Häuser tells us about what he and his partner lived through. Professional songwriters understand the importance of verse development. They will understand that this will have 3 key benefits for their songs. First, development will keep your songs fresh and interesting. Second, it will give your audience a second opportunity to build a connection with your song. And lastly, it will strengthen your song's core message by giving more context. And that is the power of verse development.
Action points.
So to sum up everything, remember this. Every song is like a book. The chorus is the cover that grabs attention and summarizes the story. The verses tell us in detail what happens and gives us context, like the pages of the book. Professional songwriters like The Weeknd understand this, but not only that. They understand that every story needs development to stay interesting. They create different angles and perspective to deliver their message. Because every angle creates another way their audience can connect with their song. This is not witchcraft, but it can feel complicated when you first start out. So to make it easier for you, I want to give you this. This is my guide for writing interesting stories. It's a step-by-step checklist you can use to develop your ideas. Just go through it and answer all the questions. You will end up with plenty of material to create lyrics from. This checklist saves me from writer's block every song that I write. So check out the link in the description.